You don't expect trouble to show up at your door with a smile and a polo shirt. But that's how it started for us. I mean, really, 6:30 in the morning, not even enough light to see past the old oak trees, our dog too lazy to bark, and I'm just standing there in my t-shirt trying to wake up with a mug of coffee when the knocking starts. Not friendly, not frantic, just sharp. 3 hard raps, and then this voice through the glass. Cool as you please. Police, open up, sir. And for a second, I laughed. HOA police. Come on, that's gotta be a joke, right? But when I peek through the window, I see 3 guys out there, matching black polos, caps, sidearms, clipboards, body cams, the whole deal. One guy's badge says Community Compliance Division. I open the door a crack and the tallest one, sunburned neck, mirrored shades, steps forward, smells like aftershave and gun oil, and he says, "Morning, sir. We've received a violation report. Your rear fence exceeds height regulations. Article 7B, perimeter obstruction." He hands me a piece of paper like he's delivering a package. And I remember thinking, why do these guys smell like real cops if they're not? Before I can get a word out, Sarah, my wife, shows up behind me. She's still in her running clothes, sweat on her neck, eyes locked on those badges, cool as ice. "John, don't sign anything," she says, steady, low, calm. The lead guy's jaw gets tight. "Ma'am, this is an official visit from your HOA enforcement unit. You're required to cooperate." Sarah doesn't even blink. "Show me your city permit number. HOA doesn't carry firearms, and you're not authorized to demand entry." That freezes him for half a heartbeat. His hand twitches toward his belt. Just a reflex, like someone used to being obeyed. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't about fences. This was a test. The 3 of them mumble into their radios, some code I don't recognize, and back off the steps. "We'll be in touch," the tall one says. Sarah waits until their car disappears before she turns to me, locks the door, and says, almost too quiet, "They'll be back. Next time, it won't be paperwork." I'm just staring at her, kettle whistling, brain not catching up. She pours herself coffee and opens her laptop like it's just another morning. "Sarah, who are they?" "Pretenders, but disciplined. Watch their hands, not their words. Someone's organized them." She pulls her old Navy ID from a drawer, faded but clear, and whispers, "They're using military structure. Phases, codes, command language. This isn't your average HOA board." The house suddenly feels small. Sunlight looks like prison bars through the blinds. When I check our door cam footage, I spot a 4th guy by a silver SUV, filming. When they drive off, I notice the plate isn't even from our state. That was the morning everything changed. Not because of the knock, but because of what Sarah saw in their eyes. Not neighborhood watch. Not rent-a-cops. Professionals. "They're mapping our response," Sarah says that night, and she's right. Because 3 days later, they're back. But this time, fear doesn't knock. It mails itself. We get an envelope. Plain, no return address. Just our name in block letters and the HOA logo in red. Inside, a violation notice. A photo of our backyard fence, circled in red, a fine, and at the bottom, "Failure to comply will result in further enforcement under Phase 2. I show Sarah. She doesn't flinch. "They're escalating the script," she says. By sundown, every mailbox on our street has a similar notice. It doesn't matter what for, grass too long, porch light too bright. What matters is the fear. Neighbors stop waving. Cars slow past our driveway. The air is heavy, like the whole street's waiting for something. Sarah sets up by the window, 3 monitors, laptop humming. "Pattern analysis," she says. "They start small, then isolate." She's on the phone late that night, talking to someone named Nate. Old military shorthand, clipped sentences. Local op, probable chain of command breach. After she hangs up, she looks at me, eyes sharp. These aren't neighbors with clipboards. Someone's funding this. Next morning, we get another envelope, 3 pages legalese, and a photo. Zoomed in on Sarah at the mailbox, taken from across the street. On the back, handwritten, "Community Compliance is watching." My hands shake. Sarah nods. They want reaction footage. They're measuring stress. So we start documenting everything. Every letter. Every strange car. Sarah draws maps, tracks lines of sight, notes entry points. A few nights later, I noticed the same white sedan, no plates, parked across the street, engine idling. 3 nights in a row. I pointed out. Sarah just types a message and mutters, Phase 2 complete. Next comes physical contact. And that's when I realize I'm not scared for us. I'm scared for Jason, our 10-year-old upstairs, asleep with his nightlight flickering. 3 nights after the letters start, the house feels wrong. Even the crickets are quiet. Suddenly, the TV cuts out, static, then black. Sarah looks up. Power's cut, she says. I check the router. Light's still green. They want the cameras offline, not us. For a second, the front camera flickers on. 4 figures moving along the fence. Tactical vests, black clothing, one with a pry bar. Sarah grabs her sidearm from the drawer. Her moves are slow, methodical, muscle memory. Stay low. If they breach, I handle the first 2. You get Jason to the safe room. Then comes the sound. Metal on metal, the lock turning. Sarah whispers, that's a bypass tool. My heart's pounding out of my chest. The door creaks open. First intruder steps in, mask, headset, gun holstered. Sarah moves, grabs his wrist, pivots, slams him into the counter. Dull thud, breath knocked out, done. Second guy comes in, flashlight slicing the dark. Sarah kicks the light up, blinds him, shoulder checks him to the floor. I just stand there, paralyzed. She zip ties their wrists, tosses me a look. They're not here to rob. They're mapping routes, response time. 2 more outside. Headlights flash, a vehicle backs out, gravel sprays. The other 2 are gone. By the time the sheriff shows up, the intruders are stripped of ID, radios wiped. One patch reads, Community Enforcement Unit. The deputy looks tired, barely cares. You folks having trouble with the HOA? Sarah just hands him the patch. Run the number. He doesn't. Shrugs. Private security gone overboard. He hauls the 2 men away. After, Sarah closes every blind, resets the power, and just sits, silent. They'll call this a misunderstanding. They always do, until the next step. And she's right. Because next morning, the neighborhood is silent. No one waves, no one asks about the sirens. Just a flyer on our mailbox. Community safety meeting, attendance required. Handwritten under it, compliance ensures peace. Fear has a sound. It's a street pretending nothing happened. Sarah sets up new cameras, backup batteries. She works in silence. That afternoon, a woman knocks. Late 40s, pastel sweater, clipboard, that practice smile. Hi, I'm Karen Brooks, community liaison for Safe Start. I'm just following up after last night's misunderstanding. Sarah stands next to me. Misunderstanding. Karen laughs. You know how these things go. Contractors overreacting. We just want everyone to stay calm. She hands over a glossy pamphlet. We're introducing a new community safety audit. Sarah's eyes lock on a pin on Karen's collar, a shield, with a faint glint of something electronic. Is that pin recording, Mrs. Brooks? Karen laughs it off, but her eyes harden for a second. We all have to do our part, Mrs. Miller. When she leaves, Sarah just shakes her head. Not just a liaison. She's a handler. I used to wear those pins. That night, the air is too calm. Phase 3 isn't just violence, Sarah says. It's isolation. They make you the problem until you break. She's right again. Next morning, new signs go up. Safe Start certified, proud member. Every house with one had porch lights on the night of the break-in. The rest, shutters drawn, mail piling up. Sarah spends nights at her desk, eyes blue from screen glow, working with Nate. Finally, they break into the Safe Start network. Every house listed, scored, flagged. Next to our name, behavioral deviation risk. Even Jason's name is there. Exhibits resistance traits. They're not just tracking us. They're studying us. Profiling kids. Sarah finds the funding source, Prodder Systems, a defense contractor. This isn't about HOA. It's a field test for control, using neighborhoods like ours. Once they know we've seen this, they'll accelerate to Phase 3. And when our porch light blinks twice then goes dark, she says, they're watching for a reaction. Let's give them one. She reroutes our network, and for a split second, we see their surveillance feed. Our house, labeled Subject Alpha Live. Why us? Because we didn't break, Sarah says. They need to prove their system works, and we're the variable. 3 days later, the ambush comes, broad daylight. 3 cars box Sarah in as she drives Jason to school. Men in Child Safety Division vests, no badges, just fake custody orders signed by Karen. Sarah neutralizes all 3 in under 20 seconds, sends me dashcam footage. Local news spins it. HOA member detains contractors. Karen paints Sarah as unstable. Safe start concerned for the Miller child. They're shifting the narrative. But then comes the twist, the special HOA hearing. Room packed, Karen at the head table, all pink jacket and pearls, smooth as glass. She accuses Sarah, but Sarah's ready. She plays a recording, Karen's voice, authorizing child removal. Keep it quiet. Handle the narrative later. Room goes dead silent. Sarah drops Prodder Systems' name. The crowd gasps. Karen breaks, flees. For a minute, people clap. But Sarah's right. It's not over. That night, as she leaves to secure evidence with Nate, I watch the neighborhood fall into deeper silence. Then, in the darkness, I spot red laser dots sweeping through the yard. They're here again, this time for real. They cut the lines, breach the house. I defend Jason. There's gunfire, chaos, blood. Unmarked SUVs arrive, suits with no badges. But Sarah bursts in, phone broadcasting live to the FBI relay channel. The suits back off, disappear into the night. After that, we run. Nate traces everything to D.C., to Prodder headquarters. 27 communities, all part of the same experiment. Karen's not just a pawn, she's management. They even used Sarah's clearance to seed the model. Nate and Sarah dumped the evidence online as black SUVs swarm the building. The truth is out, mirrored, unstoppable. Within hours, the leak is everywhere. News, Congress, the whole world. Prodder collapses, Karen disappears, subpoenas fly. But Sarah's right, systems like this don't die. They just go quiet. We disappear, too. New names, a cabin in Montana, Jason finally allowed to be a kid again. For a while, it's peaceful. But one night, Sarah points to a blinking light. Someone's building a new network, different name, same bones. Nate messages, Phoenix Project, Phase 7. We see drones, new construction, a billboard. A fresh start for a safer tomorrow. The fight's not over. Sarah starts tracking again. Phase 7, integration. When control becomes convenience, no one questions it. One morning, Sarah leaves to meet an old contact, promises to return. She doesn't. Just a folder on her laptop, coordinates, a note. If you're reading this, I've gone where the signal leads. Satellite scans show a new site, maybe a city, maybe a system reborn. Jason and I keep moving. And even when I catch her voice, faint on an unregistered satellite, warning about Phase 8, imminent, I know we can't outrun it. So I'm recording this now, for Jason, and maybe for you. If you ever see a dove with a digital wing, don't scan it. That's their handshake. And when you hear the wires hum at night, answer out loud, I'm still here. Because that's all it takes for the truth to stay alive. Now, what would you have done if they'd come for your family in the name of safety? And who do you trust to decide what safe really means? Share your story, because silence is the first thing control demands, and the last thing we should ever give it.